Krillin has gone through a multitude of deaths in the Dragon Ball series. But with that said, which deaths of Krillin had weight to them and which ones didn't? Well, to answer your question, alrighty guys, it is Quadman here today bringing you the many deaths of Krillin, as JaxBlade and I are going to go through all the different times that Krillin has died, and we're going to do an analysis of all of them. So without wasting any more time, let's get straight into this video. So, Jordan, JaxBlade, the first death we have to talk about is Tambourine. And what did you think about that one?
You felt like something bad was gonna happen way before you knew what was going on. And so like when Goku goes to dinner, he's like eating his food, then he just thinks, oh my god, something happened, and you hear Krillin screaming, and then he goes back and he sees Krillin's just body, this like kid, his best friend's body, just like laying there with a snapped neck. And that to me was just so disturbing. I mean, even though Krillin was 16 at the time, it was just disturbing to see, like, you know, he still looked like a little kid, and just seeing him broken, that to me was just like, it was just really unnerving. And then Goku just loses his shit and decides, you know what, I don't care, like, I'm out for blood, I'm gonna freaking get the guy who did this, I don't give a damn. But that was my thought. That was just, I think that is the best, well, not the best like in the morbid way, but like the best Krillin. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, that just it was effed up, man.
It was good for the story, but it wasn't good for Krillin, obviously. Me, Jordan, I kind of have a similar circumstance to you, because when I started watching Dragon Ball, I obviously saw Dragon Ball Z first, so I wasn't aware about this death until later on. I knew Krillin had died before because Goku had referenced it when he was fighting against Frieza, but I didn't know about this until I obviously saw the Dragon Ball series. And to me, I feel like this death was really sad because unlike, you know, the Bora death where Goku was kind of trying to help Bora come back because Upa, you know, had gone through such a tragedy losing his father, this one felt more personal to Goku, as he's literally losing his best friend who's had all this development in the series. And it really motivates Goku. As you see, Goku becomes very vicious when he's going out to fight against Tambourine, and, you know, when he comes back later and he kills Drum by popping his eye out, and then he obviously eventually ends up killing King Piccolo. You feel like this was,
Piano.
Yeah, and you feel like this was definitely a revenge story of Goku, and it really changed his character. So I would definitely say this death had a lot of, you know, movement to it. But to talk about the more iconic death of Dragon Ball ever of Krillin would have to be when he died against Frieza and he became a Super Saiyan. To me, this was my first death that I saw of Krillin, because I was playing the Legacy of Goku games and Budokai and all that stuff. And the one thing about this death is that Krillin kind of repaid Goku the second time around, because this time Goku had his life saved by Krillin when, you know, obviously he was getting, you know, killed by, or was being in the process of being killed by Vegeta in his Great Ape Ozaru form, and Krillin and Gohan came back to obviously jump in and save him. So Krillin saved Goku's life, and he listened to Goku when he had a chance to stop Vegeta. And then this time when Frieza kills Krillin, you know, Goku surprisingly doesn't kill Frieza right away, even though in the alternate timelines Goku does eventually kill Frieza when he comes back with King Cold, so he did eventually do it. But at that time I felt that Goku just had too much rage and anger and emotion to not have just killed Frieza right there. So to me, that one wasn't as powerful as the first.
To me, it didn't make sense, because the fact that, okay, this guy murdered your best friend, he murdered your rival to friend, he murdered your new rival, and he's tried to murder your son. So to me, the whole thing is, I annihilate that guy right away, but he's just like, nah, I tortured you and I'm bored to death. But that doesn't indicate that he's gonna stop murdering people's planets. Even though the meme was, you know, 5 minutes, I blow up this planet, it doesn't matter. It's just, to me, I thought that whole thing of like, I just beat you, now you learned your lesson, or like, I just beat you to test my own ability, but I'm not gonna avenge it. Like that to me was just, I dig it whatsoever.
Obviously, we've always known that Goku always wants to push his power. Like Goku, and we've seen this even now in Dragon Ball Super, it's always been something Goku's wanted. So it does make sense for Goku to want Frieza to go and fully power up to his 100% form to, you know, obviously fight him. That's the fighter and the fighting will of Goku on the inside. That makes sense. The problem is that coming after Frieza kills Krillin is very, very, very different to Goku's character, because originally when Goku was fighting against Tambourine, that was all revenge. Goku just wanted to get revenge for his friend. It wasn't about Goku testing his strength against King Piccolo. He wanted them to die for what they had done to Krillin. He wanted revenge. So to me, that's where you know, that storyline was kind of a bit of a difference. But Jordan, what do you think about the next death of Krillin in the Boo arc?
Originally, when I first saw that scene, I thought that some people were going to escape, but, you know, Krillin would be able to hold him off and he would end up perishing. I did not think that Boo was going to get every single person there. Like, I did not expect that. I did not expect Bulma to die. So the fact that all these other people you did not expect to die died, that I think that undermines his, you know, death there.
People die in such massive droughts in the Boo arc, but it doesn't feel as dark as when Imperfect Cell was, you know, sucking people up, no sexual pun intended, or when the androids were killing people in the future. It just didn't feel the same. So Krillin's death felt like it was thrown away, but I will give him credit in saying Krillin definitely was brave in trying to protect his family and his friends by charging against Super Boo. So I will give Krillin that much. He was trying to be brave and protect his family, even though in essence he's kind of weaker than 18, but you know what I mean.
He was at a point where he was just, okay, he was either turning people to candy or he would just like that human extinction attack. I was just like, I think when you think about it, that's kind of just instantaneous death. I mean, you're just walking down the street, pink flash of light, dead. Like, that was it. So all these other things, it was just like, it was one of those things that gives you a spectacle fatigue.
Right, and one more thing I feel like we should mention is Gotenks definitely didn't do anything. Unlike the other deaths where like somebody tried to get revenge, at least to a degree, like Gotenks was kind of kidding around. So that also kind of made the whole killing of all the other characters not having as much weight to it. But moving on to Dragon Ball GT, this death of Krillin by Android 17 definitely felt touching to the characters at the point, because you see that it affects Goku when he finds out what happened to Krillin, and you also can see it in Android 18. This was very good for Android 18's development, as you see her rush to the battlefield to help Goku against 17, and I feel like together they work together to ultimately defeat Super 17. And you know, Goku was talking to her afterwards saying, you know, Krillin's looking down at you right now, smiling. So honestly, I feel like the GT death of Krillin had a great storyline to it, and I felt that his death was definitely justified in GT as compared to Super Boo.
I admit that it was a good death. I like that he tried to, you know, talk to 17 and pull that Krillin charm like, hey, why are you doing this? You realize you hate Dr. Gero. You were the one who killed him, remember? And then, you know, he gets programmed to just shoot Krillin, and Krillin dies right there. And then, you know, 18 rushes his ass so bad. But to me, again, like I said before, it kind of gave me spectacle fatigue because, all right, the first 3 times, like, it was still like a death, but it's one of those things where something happens so many times over and over that it becomes like a joke at this point. And then you realize they had the regular Dragon Balls on Earth, and then they had the Namekian Dragon Balls since the Black Star just died with Piccolo. So I was just like, he could come back at any time net frame. So to me, I was just like, oh, Krillin died. That sucks, but they can bring him back right then and there. It was, to me, I see why it had an emotional weight. I do like that Goku and 18 teamed up to take down 17, even though it was implied that he let them win. It's just one of those things where I was like, you know, Marin lost her father in front of her eyes. So I'll say that. That was the part that got me, was that Marin saw her father die in front of her eyes.
Right. It did feel like an expendable death, but it was a death that affected 18, which is the thing I liked about it the most. Like, you could definitely feel it definitely had an impact on her and her fight against 17 later on. But now to talk about Krillin's other deaths, Krillin was said to die in both Cell's alternate timeline and in the future Trunks that we know's ultimate timeline. So what did you think about that brief portrayal, Jax?
In Trunks' timeline, all that happens is Android 17 and 18 shoot him in the head. So that's like sad. That's a sad
From a first-person angle.
Yeah, from a first-person angle. So you see him just die from that, like, very briefly. And then in the Ghost of Tomorrow episode, you see him running away from, you know, I guess Android's fighting, I guess 18's fighting someone over there. And then 17 just appears in front of him and just, like, evaporates him with a blast. And it's just, to me, those deaths were just like, it sucks, but everyone else was dying too, so I can't, like, expect, like, everyone else to live, so
Yeah, all we could probably say is Krillin, and, you know, even in the Super chapter that, like, you know, kind of talked about Trunks' time a little bit more, all we could probably say is Krillin fought against the androids. You know, he tried to probably do his best, tried to be brave, but he realized he was not going to win, and he started trying to run away. That's pretty much it. But to talk about the ultimate and final death of Krillin, Jax, it's kind of obvious. It's the fact that Krillin died of natural causes at the end of Dragon Ball GT, and really, I mean, he died naturally and he had a good life, and that's just the cycle of life.
I mean, unless he got that stuff from Roshi, which I doubt, but it's just, it's one of those things where you realize it's just a part of life.
And if we assume that over those 100 years that, you know, everybody went through a peaceful time, we can assume that he died peacefully, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Alrighty guys, so that's been our video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this analysis of all of Krillin's deaths in the Dragon Ball series. Which one did you feel was the most iconic to you? Which one did you felt was the most justified? Which one did you felt was unjustified? And let us know what you think in the comment section below. And also check out JaxBlade. I'll post a link to his channel in my description. So with everything else said, please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. And remember, as I always say, to have a great day guys, and Jax, take us out.
Keep calm and booyah on, and don't forget, Momentai.